Hey, in this video, we are going to be looking at plotting out the scenes. So far, we established a location, then we destabilized it by changing something off whack. Then we used that to inform about our design of the villain, and then we made the PC's goal in the previous video. And now we're going to be stitching it all together to make a flowchart of key scenes. Everything from the time when they get the hook all the way till when the game ends or the story ends as we planned it. Now remember, as I mentioned multiple times before, this is just the plan that we are doing right now. Okay, this plan's not important, but the planning process is. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. We are going to be making a list, like a flowchart, right? And to do that, what I like to do is I like to open up a second tab and then go back at the work that we've done so far. All right, so I'm right now looking at the villain itself, and I'm going to be taking down a bunch of notes, right? So I know that, for example, I've got Reachum. That's the enemy that we have, okay? And what else do we want? Oh, I like this. Because, see, this is a unique identifying thing about Reachum. So I'm going to be putting that stuff over there as well. And nature magic, okay? I like this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to dig up relevant artifacts that we have created so far in our design of the adventure, right? So then we also know that stop flesh golems, okay? So we got that. And then what else do we have? Saving the river from pollution, that's another key theme. And then magic comes from the earth. I like that. Maybe we can drop it off in the temple somewhere as a bit of lore, right? So when we're doing the scenes planning, it's not just about this happens and then this happens and then this happens, right? It's about how can we inject multiple ways of showing what is happening without somebody actually, doing like a lore dump or an exposition, right? And oh, there we go, right? So then we have the subterranean lake. I like that. So we definitely want to have all of this. Subterranean lake, old, discover new magic, snake idol. Okay, I don't remember what that was, but let's take a look at that. This is what happens when you're planning with gaps in between, right? Start a small cult, hide Avatham, magical unguents, like paintball. All right, I'll remember that. Magic, reprogrammed, sabotage the golem vats. Okie dokie. All right, so we want to take all of this as well. So we're going to be keeping all of this. Okay, I think we have that. All right, so definitely want to have, oh, I like this. So we definitely want to have all the minions and stuff like that because, they're going to be useful when we're plotting out the scenes, right? Oh, look at that. These are two important components that we want to have as well because they're going to be relevant when we're making our flowchart. Then key moves, right? Spectral snakes. I like this. So I have ADHD, and what ends up happening is I often forget stuff that I've written before. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, right? Escape is subterranean lake and get more blessings. Okay, I'm going to be keeping that. All right. Now, I believe in the PC stuff, I renamed this, by the way. I called it a pound of flesh. And here's the thing. So we have different hooks. Okay, so I'm just going to get that in as a separate list. So we have that as well. All right. And then we are back to where we were before. Okay, so let's start writing this out. Obviously, all stories are going to be starting with the beginning, right? So we can totally take the hooks section, then we just paste it over here. What's happened so far is PCs and patrons. So there's a rare magical disease, right? By eating some fish at the river, magic behaving erratically at the riverbank. So then there is obviously stuff that's happening at the river. PCs get a map of the location, temple. All right, so we got river, we got temple plus map, right? And witches have hired PCs. Mhm. Kokila has hired PCs plus magical unguent. So in my head already, the witches, they've not just hired the PCs, but they've also hired Kokila. And then we need to figure out the map. All right. So maybe they got the map somewhere. All right. So depending on what's happening. So they have different reasons to be there. So we have all of these hooks, right? Now, when they have these hooks, you might be wondering, oh, what's, how do I even plan for this? Well, the thing is, if you're going to be plotting all of this out linearly, it's going to be a challenge because it's going to be giving you way too many threads, so to speak, to prep for. Instead, what I like to do, and this is something I learned from Justin Alexander, he calls this node-based design, but I'm going to be simplifying it into something else. So what I'm going to say is that I'm going to be taking it like location based, okay? Or artifact based, which is again what he means by nodes. So what are the key listings over here, right? So we have, you see each of these? These are the different nodes, so to speak, right? There's the river, and then there is the temple and the map. Sorry, this is the map to the temple, right? They found witches are another this thing, and then Kokila is something. They have the magical unguent, but we also know, not just from what we just have from the hooks, but let's say the players decide to go somewhere else, right? What are the other things that they could interact with? One could be flesh golems, right? Because we have that here, right? And then there is pollution. So then under the river, because it's related to that, there's pollution. Subterranean lake. So I'm going to say this is temple, snake temple. So then this is going to be, there's the map to it, right? And there is the, probably going to put these as separate too. Map is probably not going to be, maybe it's going to hint at a underground lake, right? And marsh rangers. So maybe that's another, this thing that they can interact with, right? The reason why we're listing out all of these different nodes is so that we can flesh out, we can give players an aspect, a perspective into what is happening in this situation, right? And our goal as a part of this process is to have all of these different scenes point to each other so that players are exploring and getting the grasp of the whole thing. So instead of us having a linear thing, we're going to say, okay, these are the different scenes. And this movie is going to be kind of like Pulp Fiction, right? Where, like in a very Quentin Tarantino-esque approach, the movie's going to be consumed in like different, it's not going to be consumed in a straightforward order. It's going to be all jumbled up. But we still get a gist of the whole movie as we are going through this. All right. So I'm just going through the list of key things and trying to dig out nodes. Okay. So we got Magic Snake Idol. All right. So Snake Idol could be here. But we also have, I think it was called Bombaviran. Where's that? Snake Demigod. Okay. Veerapamp. Right. So I'm going to be putting that up there as well. Cult, Hiravatham, protect the land. Yeah, maybe I think Hiravatham can be a node as well, right? The concept of the town. Maybe we can add in some info over there. Magical unguent. So, yeah, magical unguent is tied to witches. It's tied to Kokila, and it's tied to flesh golems, right? So flesh golems, they're made in the vats, which we haven't specified yet, but we will. Right? They're made by the witches. And that's how the people of Hiravatham deal with their dead. Okay? All right. Oh, we also had the routes. I think we had the patrol. Yeah. So we had the patrol routes. Okie dokie. As you see, right? So if we just follow each thing, it's going to lead to like multiple other things. Almost like unraveling a sweater when you're pulling at a thread, right? Over time, seeping into the flesh golem. Okay. Ooh. Then there's some weird nature magic, right? So if we have the magical unguent, maybe that leads to Kokila, who then I think we have a separate, yeah, who then leads to magical rituals of some sort, right? Then reprogramming flesh golems. And then that could lead to the rangers, marsh rangers, right? So then we'll need marsh rangers. So we have that. And that's where it leads to Leecham. Yep. Okay. Give it time to heal. Marsh rangers, and maybe they are butthurt about pollution. So river pollution. Okay. So as you can see, each of these nodes are concepts that we're trying to link to. We also want to say flesh golems are undead, right? Marsh rangers don't have a big problem with something being the undead because they are in the marshes, and that's like the hub for all the undead stuff. But the fact that it is harming, so they want to protect the river and the earth, right? So maybe we can have that in the map as well, right? Protect the land, so to speak. Lead upon awaken trees and plants. So maybe when they're going down the routes, patrol routes, right? Or we have awakened trees and plants, right? And spectral snakes. Dude, we have to drop that in somewhere. Where do we get it? Snake Temple. Yep. Reign of spectral snakes on someday. I don't know. Naga Panchami, so to speak. Hidden traps and decoys. Okay. Blow darts. We definitely want blow darts, right? Blow darts. Because that's how they're putting in the unguent on the flesh golems. But they have blow darts. Okay. So as we're going through, right, what we've done is from all the work that we've done so far, we collected all of this information. And once we have that, what we've done is we've put together a rough relationship of concepts, okay, that are happening. And what each concept does is it provides us a way to connect one thing that's happening in our adventure to something else. Now, obviously, just this concept alone is not going to be enough, right? What we want to use this list for is, again, I'm learning and I'm sharing what I've learned from Justin Alexander and his books, is we want to make a list of things, all right, that our players will need to get, okay? So how do we do that? So, well, we looked at all the concepts. So let's start writing it down. So when we have the river pollution thing, so we want the players to know, I believe this is called a revelation list. I'm just going to call it list of things we want our players to know. Sly Flourish calls this secrets and clues, or to something to that effect. Okay, so we're going to say river is being polluted by the bats. Okay, pollution, so this is river pollution, is making the magic go wonky. Bad river magic is messing up the fish and threatening the food source. Remember, one of the PCs was getting hurt because they ate some magical fish, right? Right. So essentially, when we go through this process, we will end up with like a big list of things. Then the beauty of it is then we can plot out saying that, okay, first this could happen, then this could happen, then this could happen, then this could happen. But let's say they go into a scene. Let's say scene A. Let's say they go to the riverbed. Okay. And we are using different elements of the scene, which we'll look at in terms of like legend. We'll be able to, let's say, deliver this point, and this point. We'll be able to communicate to the players and they'll be able to reach that deduction. But this, I mean, we kind of pinned this to this particular node, to this particular location, but we're not able to do that. So then what do? We still keep it with us. All right. And then sometime later in the adventure, when we get the opportunity, let's say when they're visiting the inn, or when, they're entering the meeting with the witches, let's say, maybe they see one of the witches is sick because she ate some fish from the river or something. So you see, we can communicate the same thing, but using different delivery mechanisms. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. All right, underground lake. What is that thing that we want to know? There's an underground lake near Hierawatham. Okay. Full of old nature magic, right? Lake was designed to protect the land. There was an Ayanar. Ayanar is like a protective spirit. It's a crude translation, but it'll do. Called Veerapambu in these parts. Okay, so we got all of that. Snake idol is worshipped for taking protection, right? And phenomena of spectral snake rain often noticed in the deeper part of the forest. So these three items, right? They're all like loosely there, and then players can make their own conclusions from this. Okay, we didn't put anything about witches, so we're just going to add that in here. Witches make flesh golems in their vats. Witches are not evil, right? Nobody who does good actually ever thinks of them as evil. That's a funny thing. Maybe we should explore that in a adventure of your own. Witches are not evil. Witches are making a calculated trade-off. So see, the moment you have a calculated trade-off, oh, it's for the greater good, right? Players are going to get pissed off, so that's a good thing. We can flesh out more later, but this is a good way. Kokila. Oh, witches don't like their flesh golems being reprogrammed. Maybe witches pay a steep cost in life to make the golems, right? So they're obviously like, dude, we're killing ourselves, but this is not okay. Kokila was hired by witches to find out about the unguent. Kokila has heard rumors of reprogrammed constructs using spores in her travels. Okay. What else do we got? Marsh rangers. Kokila has often hired marsh rangers to forage for valuable ingredients. So maybe, there's something that comes out from there. Magical unguent, which is okay. Kokila is okay. Flesh golems are reprogrammed when the magical unguent seeps into their corpus. I think that's what you call. So right now I'm looking at this one. right? Magical unguent was applied via blow dart. Wets are a gruesome process to make the flesh golems. Then flesh golems are powered by witch's life force. Flesh golems are not beholden to a person, but rather to a set of instructions. I think that's how traditional golem lore works as well. Hyderabadam, yeah. Agreed upon. Set up for Hyderabadam's greater good. So this is like AI. All right, patrol routes. Flesh golems have their patrol routes, and flesh golems have been attacked by awakened trees and plants and snakes. Marsh Rangers. Marsh Rangers have been becoming aloof. Rangers' oath is to protect the land. Rangers' preferred weapon is blow dart. Right. So obviously, there will be many more things in your adventure, right? And even for me here, I've not fleshed out the whole thing in the interest of keeping the video length manageable. But as you see, I've got a list of these things, right? And then the next process beyond this, right? So I'm just going to copy the wrong thing. I'm going to copy all of this, right? So because this process, what we've done is we've not just plotted out the scenes, right? We first made a list of all the nodes, and then we made a list of things that we want the players to know, right? Then we want to have a flow. And the flow would look like this. So let's say they get the hook. Okay, whichever hook it is, then they're first going to go check out the witches. Then they will meet with Kokila. And once they get the meet with Kokila, then maybe not Kokila. They go check out the vats. And then they go to Kokila, then they go to the riverbank. And then once they go to the riverbank, they go to the patrol routes, right? And then from there they get clues, and then from there they go to the underground lake. And as you can see, this is a very, and then of course, they come back to Hyderabad. As you can see, this is a very high level flow, and all the things that we made, right? All of these different things, when they are meeting with different players, with different NPCs, we're going to be dropping this as lore bombs, so to speak. Well, not lore bombs, but we're going to be showing them, our players, what's happening, as opposed to, just dumping lore on them. In the next video, we will look at how we can add extra scenes to go beyond this, right? So this seems to be our critical path. But what if we had to add scenes for, let's say, a merchant, a street urchin, or a drunk in a tavern, so to speak? We'll see that in the next video. Cheers.